but you never looked at yourself as saying the same thing. I don't belong here. I have a life.
Right. Because it was like, oh nah, I'm gonna get out of this jump. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do this little time. The 10, 15 years, I'm gonna do this little number and going back out. 10, 15 years. You know how long 10, 15 years. Yeah, that's how I be though. But this, I'm telling you, this how I be in your head. It's like I'm gonna do this little bit.
Goodness. Like till the numbers turned into letters. You know, until they start saying life. Yeah. Until they start saying without. Thank you for joining today's discussion with Flip, Flee Living in Prison, Children in Crisis segment. My name is Netta, and today's discussion is serious, so viewer discretion is advised. In this Children in Crisis segment today, we want to explore how and what conditions shape a young person's mindset when making life-altering choices and decisions. Let's welcome our panel guests. We have Raymond, who is an active member of Flip, and Dwayne, who is the founder of the Flip nonprofit organization. These men are an example of how one choice altered the course of their lives in a way that they could not have imagined. So, welcome to you both. Thank you for taking the time today to discuss this sensitive but necessary topic surrounding violence and murder in our community involving our young children.
Call me. Man, Slim, I need it. All right, Slim, I got you. You know what I mean? Woo. I went. I did what I did, you know, and I got away with it. It was a success at that point, to a point. Mm-hmm. And then this is when it becomes unsuccessful. This is when it became unsuccessful. The same people that know your business. Remember how you said that people would know something, then they come to you and as soon as they get in trouble in relation to what you were saying. It wasn't that they was, Dwayne like that. He gonna kill up the block if we get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Nah, people put these actions that you do of violence into their back pocket. Some people do, and they hold it for a later day to be able to use it. You know what I mean? And leverage against you to get themselves out of the situation. And that's what happened with me. When you become a violent person, it becomes normal, and that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah, and the crazy part, to piggyback, again, when you say you was a little aggressive, the different from me, I wasn't aggressive. I became aggressive.
Right.
Because of the environment that I was in. It's like you, in that game, you got no choice. Like you said, either they know they're going to come for you, or you're gonna put in work. They're going to know you got a reputation. Going back to my head becoming big, I didn't have as many guns, but then I started, same thing, liking guns, wouldn't go nowhere without it. But then I was thinking about something I just want to go back to, because, and this is for young people and for like adults that's like into mentoring and counseling, consistency. Mm-hmm. I was in a Big Brother program, because I'm like you, I was going youth center, not youth center, what was it called? CNO, but what was the other one called? Before that, it's a little center.
Receiving home.
Receiving home.
Yeah, receiving home.
Receiving home. I didn't make Oak Hill, but receiving all.
Yeah.
Right? So when I was getting into this trouble, the needs for young people, listen, if you got a mentor or if you're mentoring, the mentor be consistent and let the mentor mentor you. Because I had, right before I was ready to get out, I was ready. I didn't want to stay there where I was. I had a mentor. I ain't gonna say his name. I want to say his name so bad because I'm mad at him. Yeah. But this guy took me. I mean, I tell y'all, mess with y'all. I went to see Michael Jackson. He took me to see the Jackson 5s. Exposed me, the exposure to horseback riding, camping, or just sitting in his home with his mother when she cooking that good meal, just chilling. I was like, ow. When he come to get me, I wasn't even thinking about the streets or selling drugs. I was out. My mom, he come and get you today. Yeah, he's supposed to. But that's like, because I ain't never have a father. So that's where it was really a big disappointment. So I'm just waiting and waiting. He didn't come this weekend. Next weekend, he didn't come this weekend. I started getting back on the block. I ain't on my boys. He ain't coming this. By that time, it's too late. I'm back. I always draw to that point, and I think that's, to me, that's what our purpose is. To help these young people see, like, there is a way out. You don't have to get to where me and Raymond went. The damage was, I can't trust nobody no more to come to me talking about get out, or you gonna do this for me, or you gonna be there for me, or we gonna do this. It's too late. I had a girlfriend back then. Starting government job. I can get your GED. We're gonna get you in the government. You're gonna work. That don't make sense to me. At one point, it would have,
Right.
but it don't make sense to me anymore. Cause now I'm in. I'm all the way in now. Like I total flip. Like now now I become even more aggressive though now. And I don't know if that come from you say you took child psychology, was this anger.
Yeah,
it's like because
you didn't like your situation.
Yeah.
For real. You thought you liked your situation, but you really ain't like your situation because being in the streets, and not to cut you off, it takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on your, because you got to worry about the stick up kids. You got to worry about the police. You got to worry about the dolphins and crackheads working you. And you just got, and it's just, and
people want money.
Anybody that's a normal, had any sense of normalcy in their life, that wears you down. You might not even really think of it, but when you think of it, you see it. You feel it. You know what I mean? And
what y'all describing is an identity crisis, right? And so what I think the true crisis that's taking place with our children is that there's not enough consistent practice to tell them who they really are, and that the environment, the social influence shouldn't shape them into being something that they're not. Because see, what happened was you were hungry, right? And because there was a lack and deficiency there, you created an alter ego. That aggression is not you in the sense where it's volatile, but nobody shaped it so that you could use it productively, right? And so what we have is people, not to blame parents, but there's a lack of...
No, blame them. It's okay.
But there's a lack of parental guidance, right? In the sense that we still have, young people, and I'm not talking about age, I'm talking about maturity level, young people having children, but also not being emotionally prepared for the level of involvement and the need of the child. And so in that, what happens is they are crackheads. They are people that's waiting in the shadows to bring our children in that fold. It looks like safety. It looks like care, but it's really not. You're tired. You're angry. You're fearful. You're scared. And now you're locked up. You're sitting in the courtroom and they're calling out all these charges. You're looking back at your parents. You got kids that you're leaving behind. You got people that you're disappointed from that one choice. That one choice. So I want you to give me that moment in time where it clicked. That the life that you've been living became so heavy that you finally let it go. When did it take place?
It's still taking place, I should say. You know what I'm saying? It's still forming. It's still, it's still a motivation to do, what I have to do to be successful, because I have tasted. I taste success just a little bit. You know what I mean? So I know it's much more that I can, a bigger bite of the pie that I can take, I can have. So where it clicked at was this system the system started changing. I've been going to jail since I was like 13 years old. You know, I just got off parole yesterday too. I'm gonna tell y'all that.
All right.
So what? Say that again.
I got off parole yesterday.
Congrats.
Yeah, no, Friday. It wasn't yesterday. It was Friday.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
So now he's not connected to the man anymore.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
So, I had been going to jail since I was very, very, very young, right? So jail had become a normalcy to me. Jail wasn't, I'm gonna hang myself, I'm gonna get up and jail is, Dwayne, you down this jail too, Dwayne? Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not my, it's we all together, we fighting bodies, you know what I mean? Or we fighting drug charges, or we fighting this, or we fighting that. And it's people that look just like you know what I mean? So these are my buddies, you know what I mean? So it's like, it wasn't something that was abnormal that versus like if I was to see a carton and they from Fresh Prince and they're like, oh nah, you don't belong in this jump. It's like in my head and me going so long, it's like we belong in there. This was a part of your life. This was a part of how you were supposed to. This was if you ain't going to joint, you weren't nothing.
It's crazy.
So now it's a badge of honor.
It's a badge.
You get your badges.
I'm gonna let you finish because I remember one of the guys coming home. Oh yeah, he was down low. He just came home. Yeah. We looked at him like, they was up here.
It was a rite of passage.
Yeah.
So you didn't
like,
go to jail. There wasn't no rite of passage, so you wasn't nothing. So you look at a square like you don't belong. You got a life, but you never looked at yourself as saying the same thing. I don't belong here. I have a life.
Right. Because it was like, oh nah, I'm gonna get out of this jump. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do this little time. 10, 15 years, I'm gonna do this little number and going back out. 10, 15 years. You know how long 10, 15 years is? Yeah, that's how I be though. But this, I'm telling you, this how I be in your head. It's like I'm gonna do this little bit.
Goodness.
Like till the numbers turned into letters. Until they start saying life. Until they start saying without.
This one I went in on this my last bit. I was young. And so you still running around and joint. You got your jail knife. You ready to kill something in here.
So the mindset that you had out the street, you took it in.
You better take it in there because they're going to dog you. You gonna get dogged.
So it didn't click at that moment. Then.
Nah, it's turn up. You might know. Was down real quiet, real smooth, real good brother, right? He told me this. He was like, "Look, man, you gotta slow down. You gotta make it back out there." He had committed a murder in prison and had got a life sentence. You know what I'm saying? And believe it or not, it's more common than you think that people get time while they in prison. So I thought about it, right? It ain't turned me down, but I started running into more people that that had encountered these type of situations and got more time. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm going, I was sentenced to a youth act, so it was just like, it wasn't really nothing. It would have me under the oppression, whereas it was like, if you program and you do this or do that, the parole board gonna let you go. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, I didn't make it to that point, whereas my act was actually unsuccessful. You know what I mean? So I got out. I got out on like the compassionate COVID thing. You know what I mean? So I got out on that, but I started to see like the people, my deserving ones. I started to see them getting old. I always thought that my mother was gonna be my young homie. Like, man, my mother, we like. That's my dog, you know what I mean? So when I started seeing her job getting old, I'm like, I've been in this junk 12 years now. Like, it's time for me to get up out of this junk now. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the system was changing. Like, it was becoming more locked down. It was becoming more petty. It wasn't as free. You couldn't get no money like you know what I'm saying? Because you got some people that go to prison and they send their kids to college. They still hustle in prison. There's still things going on in prison, but
it was more restrictions.
It became more tight. It became more tight. So, like, it slowed me down to the point where it was like, nah, man, you gotta get up out of that joint. You know what I'm saying? And then it also was, when you go to jail, a lot of people, pick their religion of choice, or they practice their religion of choice. So religion played a big part in me, learning and changing and like slowing down, like pumping my brakes. You know what I mean? Becoming more humble, respecting the person and not who a person who daddy told me this person was. You know what I mean? You still have to protect yourself. You still have to, because that's just a life period. You know what I mean? You still have to protect yourself. It's just natural. That's your human defenses. But you start when people start seeing you for other than what you are on that paper, it changes you. You know what I mean? It's like it's like the acceptance from law-abiding citizens.
So they finally saw you.
Yes.
They didn't see you as Raymond the aggressor, Raymond that had all the guns, Raymond that was putting in work. They finally saw who you wanted them to see from the very beginning.
Right.
All the extra things was the coping mechanisms that you had because of their environment.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Everybody in their head has a perception of what they want a person to look at them as. You know what I mean? I'm talking about from a positive standpoint. From a positive standpoint, because if you want to be a football player or you want to be a basketball player, that's something that's positive versus you want to be like JoJo who be standing on the corner all day selling drugs. You know what I'm saying? Now that right there is the more easier, image to portray. But
but it's the most difficult to walk out. It's the most difficult to walk out. But you said that from the very beginning. As a kid, I wanted to be a doctor, right? But there wasn't anything in your life to steer you in the direction that you thought of, right? So you had another thought. Well, let me go out here. I gotta make this money because I'm hungry, right? So mitigating circumstances cause you derail in that moment, right? And what I don't want to glorify is that your journey was in vain. Oftentimes we glorify things without really knowing it. But I don't want to glorify it. But yet I believe that this was the moment where it caused you to develop. It caused you to grow up and mature. It may have not been the most orthodox way to go, but your path led you here. Yeah. Had not you had that experience, you could not be here right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting statement because I've dealt with that still. I also tell people I regret my testimony because to me now, I believe that taking a life is the worst thing a person can do. That's the worst thing a person can do. You were talking about faith, because me and my faith, I believe that's the only thing you can take from God. You can't take nothing from him but a life, because that's his. You know what I mean? This stuff here, the earth and everything like that, but we are his, and to take that from him. So I dealt with the regret of it. I understand. I am more understanding now that, the road that I traveled was for a time as this to help young people to not go down that road that we went, right? To not have to experience what we experienced. That's the whole key of flee living in prison, to get you to flip the way you see things, the way you think. Going to prison is not a good thing. It jacked me up. I mean, I did good coming out. But it took time. I had to grind. You don't have to grind. They got an advantage. I always try to tell young people, you have an advantage right now. What Raymond is telling you, if you listen to it, putting you in an advantage of life, you can come far ahead of where everybody else is. Right. If you listen to what these people are trying to tell you. That's the importance of mentorship. And to go back, my change was, I just talked to you about this was it yesterday morning, day before?
Day before.
My change came 5 years in. I was like, unfortunately, I caught another case. I was in. I'm that little dude. Then I ain't weighed but 125 pounds. They thought I was soft. Got robbed. All of that. They thought he's sweet. I caught a case. Ended up getting more time. Now listen, remember I told you I was working to, Lord was off the chain. But I was going to school, trying to get my GED. Never give up, people. Took me 3 times to get that GED. 3 times. But I'm going to school. I'm in culinary arts. I'm in upholstery. I'm making money now. I'm making $300 a month in prison from working and going to school. But then when people used to see that, it's like
that's a sign of being soft. Like,
yeah.
But the right thing to do in prison is like, oh, he ain't on nothing. Now if you down on the yard and you cutting up, oh yeah, he the one to beat. Like it's
the same mentality.
It's the same mentality.
Because guess what? When you were on the street, if you were out there working, if you were going to school, you were considered soft because you didn't go.
Come on, listen, y'all.
You wasn't selling drugs, and so this is what the conversation is about anyway today. That it's how do you sway the mindset of a child in true application, right? Because if the child is hungry, if the child is angry, if the child is not receiving that consistent application of whatever it is that they need to stray away from the vials of this world, then what are we doing?
Mm-hmm. See, but like I said, I think in a couple of segments ago, like you gotta still, for them to relate to you, you still gotta help them in the when they doing wrong. You see what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is like you gotta. It's like you feeding them. You feeding them baby food. You know what I mean? You just can't send them straight to solids, or because they still babies. And what I mean by that is like you praying at the same time that nothing drastic don't take place with them while you feeding them this baby food, but you have to. It's like nourishing them back to health. You know what I mean? Because they not gonna look at you and take heed to what you're saying if you're not helping their situation. So it's just like, all right, you say change the mindset, don't sell drugs, don't kill, don't do that. But what do you have to replace that?
Yes.
So the void is still there. So they're looking at you like, okay, you told me don't do this, but yet I'm still hungry. You told me don't do this, but yet I'm being teased. You told me don't do this, but yet, I don't have no clothes, I don't have no coat. You told me to do this, but nobody tells me that they love me. And it's a fine line where a child is concerned. And I've been trying to figure out where is that pivotal moment in that life where it shifts.
You talking about as the child,
as the child, with like you had that pivotal moment where it shifted, but oftentimes people miss it, so they only see that mistake, right? So by the time the parent looks up, you thinking, hold on, I've been cooking, I've been cleaning, I'm trying to give you a roof over your head, I'm doing this, but yet the child, there's something fundamentally that's still missing to cause this shift to occur. And, it's not for this segment, but it's just something for us to ponder as an adult. Like, sometimes we can be in the hustle or in the grind so hard that we miss what the children really need, right? We're so concerned about the outward performance, whether or not your child looks like something I can be proud of, right? Because as a parent, oh, your child, they so cute. You take that accolade. The child don't care, right? But you take the accolade. But then you have it where, we assume that because we give them the fundamentals, the house, the food, the car, the place, that All of that is what they need.
And that's so good because I remember.
But they're still insecure.
Yeah.
Right? They're still fearful. They're still angry. But we're not asking those questions. We're not, and it's almost as if, in some instances where parents don't want to ask because they are fearful of what that answer is. But yet, that question needs to be answered in order to bring that wholeness between the child, the mother, and what's taking place in the street. Because shouldn't we be the foundations to say, here's what you're going to have to fight against, but I need to give you weapons to fight against it. You needed weapons to fight against the people, but you trusted your mother, right? You trust your mother. But sometimes that advice is not wise counsel, right? Because she said, if they ask for it, give it to them. What is that?
But mine's a little different though, because
right?
But my mom, that's where it's different. Me and my mom relationship wasn't like his mom relationship.
Right, but
that was the wisdom. I didn't get wisdom.
Right.
No, literally, wisdom. Don't get me wrong. I love my mom. There's different things.
Right.
Okay, she may taught, say, clean, do the dishes, do the laundry, cook. But what did she, in wisdom, impart in us? Like, but she had a thing now. Tangible. She don't get involved in children's affairs like there.
But that could be just it. Like that is the void that she didn't do.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
That could be it. Like that is the void that you didn't have with her. So that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But here's the thing. In your years of age right now, talking about your mom, you just identified something. So just imagine a 12-year-old to 16-year-old not being able to articulate what that is, that disconnect between the parent. And so because I have somebody else that's, a like-minded child who has a similar situation, right? Because it's trauma bonding. All of us in the ghetto, we all hungry together. We all lack a father. We all lack discipline. We maybe have family members that's going in and out of jail, family members that are on drugs or whatever the addiction may be. And so that's like two catalysts coming together, two ignorant mindsets coming together to spawn these situations that are going on with our kids. That's why they don't relate to us. Because we're talking at them as if we've never been 15, but they've never been 52. They've never been 38. So how is it that we have this great divide between the very people that are our essence? Why are we looking at our children, calling them YNs? Why are we looking at them as if it's a detriment? Had your mother said different things, had the situation been different, doesn't mean that you would have never been in this situation.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? Because we make these suggestions as if we had what somebody else had, that I would have turned out differently. But that's not saying that.
That's not necessarily true.
Yeah, and I've dealt with that.
Yeah.
And so we're saying that now, because guess what? They said PG County has, the per capita, of the highest housing and all of these things. We're buying our kids all these things. We're living in these many mansions, but yet we have a crisis.
Yes, we do.
So that means that it had nothing to do with the job. It had nothing to do with the money. It had nothing to do with you buying them things. So what is it? Because the statement is, this is the worst generation. Your grandmother said, this is the worst generation.
Yeah.
So what's really missing, and that's what we aren't tackling. Where everybody's pointing the blame. The kids saying, my mother didn't do this, my mother didn't do that, my father ain't here, the parents saying, oh, these kids don't listen to me. I'm working 80 hours a day. I'm trying to get them all. But nobody's listening.
That's key. I want to end with that. I was going
right.
Good. No, good. That's
good.
That's good.
So for the last question, would be not only to offer, what would you offer as wise counsel to the children right now, but how would you advise them to deal with conflict resolution, fear, insecurity, and uncertainty?
Just remember what I said earlier. Like, the same one who you beefing with today can be your homie with your backs against the wall, against each other, fighting off a racial war. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at it, you look at the totality of what y'all really have a disagreement about.
It's not a
It's
disagreement at all.
It's not even that serious. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like, pause for a second and try to ask yourself, why are we here? Why are we here? You and this person, or you in this neighborhood, or whatever. Why are we here? Because if you saying that y'all are continuously having something going on because of what Dwayne did or what Netta did back 25 years, 30 years ago, it don't even make no sense, because I can guarantee you that Dwayne and Netta don't care nothing about that. They living their life. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like try to like take time and think. Like, slow down. Like just slow down, think, and value your life. Your life is much more valuable than you being in a morgue or in a prison cell, because that's where it's going to lead to. You know what I mean? It's going to lead to either two places. You know what I mean? And you know, life is precious, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go to prison. Oh, Dwayne went to prison for 25 years. He liked that. Nah, Dwayne was, I'm going to tell you, Dwayne going to tell you, he felt like an idiot. He lost 25 years of his life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And myself, I lost 20 years of my life. And I feel like when I think about that, all the stuff that I could have accumulated, all the success, all the, you know what I mean? I just felt like, man, you know what I mean? I want to smack myself in the head, like, man, you lost out on a lot of opportunities in life that was right now. I can have my feet kicked up. You know what I mean? But also know that life just don't stop, or you won't be able to reach these goals and aspirations because you made a mistake or you did something wrong. It won't, you know, because Dwayne is a living testament. I'm a living testament, and you have a whole bunch of other people that's living testaments that has came out and it has been a success for them. You know what I mean? But sometimes a lot of us, we don't get that chance. You see what I'm saying? So you don't want to be a victim of circumstances in that area, whereas you don't get that chance. You know what I mean? So try to tighten up right now and put all of your energy into, you know, trying to finish school, trying to get you a job, you know, basically, you know, doing the basic necessities. That's what I say. Going to school, that was big. That was big. You know what I mean? For us back then, to go to school, even if it was to be going to school for you to show off your little outfit, that was big. You know what I mean? Now today, school is so much more easier, and I feel for them, because the school systems is like they failing them. Like, we had to walk we had to walk to school in like blizzards. Walk, not just, you know, they fortunate to have their parents drop them off, but they closing the schools down, so that's letting you know the direction in which they trying to go with you receiving knowledge. You know what I'm saying? They trying to
go. That's a whole different topic right there. Talk about the system. That's part of the problem with our young men. It's not them itself. It's them operating in a system that they were never supposed to be in the first place.
Right.
I digress.
Right.
Continue.
But
that's the problem.
But that's what I really feel like that's what, you know, when it's conflict resolution, let's take a second and think about, you know, the consequences. Don't be like me and be acceptance to the consequences, because that's gonna fuel you to make your impulsive move. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Like, if you don't sit back and you don't think about everything that you have to lose, first and foremost your life, then you're gonna make an impulsive move. You know, so you want to respond to the situation instead of reacting to it. You know what I mean? Because a reaction, you don't have time to really understand what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't process it.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Just take a moment to think. I remember telling my daughter that one time they were having an altercation at school, and I was like, she was like, I know you mad. I was fine. That's here nor there. I said, my point to you is I need you to take 30 seconds. 30 seconds just to think. Think about the outcome.
Yeah.
You're thinking about right now the issue. Think about the outcome. What outcome do you want to see? That outcome has to please me. Because if it's not going to please me, then you know you shouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your
I mean, that's
advice, counsel?
I mean, that can be so broad. One of the things I always, if I
Well, that's why I took fear, because that's what you
say that again.
That's why I said fear and insecurity, because that's what you mentioned beforehand.
Well, you were saying what I can tell them, a
Mhm.
young person. For me, I think like I always say, for talk to young people, I'd be like, well, work hard now, play later.
Mhm.
That's one of my biggest things I like because a lot of young people they want their fun right now. They want to just play the video games. They want to go everywhere. They want to do this. I saw a video not a while ago. A young guy, he was like 16, got all his degrees, but now he got places where he can get into college. He got all these offers for a free ride. He worked hard early, but now when he gets older, he's able to play, meaning enjoy life. That's what I mean by play later.
Mhm.
We did it backwards. We played, we had fun, because let's be honest, at some point when we was out in the street, we had some fun too with it. I mean, it wasn't to us. To me, them were some of my best years. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, but I want young people to look at it like this. If you put in the work now, when you get into like our age group, you don't have to work as hard as we have to work. You don't have to try to, and you can't. You don't have to try to redeem the time if you go to prison, because most people when they come home, they trying to redeem the time that they already lost.
Right.
You trying to catch up again. And the biggest thing I can tell young people, and I did a teaching on this years ago, it's called listen, hear, and obey. You can listen, but if we give you an instruction and you follow that instruction is only designed to put you in an advantage. But that 30 seconds, y'all said, it allows you to hear what the voice may have told you, or the voice of God, or anything to steer you in a different direction. So understand that some of you may got people in your environment, they may say, stop doing this, or do this, or do that. It's not that they want you to not experience anything, they're protecting you.
Right. There's always
From
guardrails.
what me and Raymond is doing, we trying to protect you from what we experienced. We don't want you, of course, your life is not going to be our life, but we don't want you to go to prison. We don't want you to take a life. We don't want that. So what we trying to tell you is something that can prohibit you from going down that road. If you got a counselor, you in a school, you don't know how to get away from your friends, Mom, pick me up every day from school, please. Can you pick me up? They don't gotta know. If you're just afraid to not hang out with the dude, you just don't, and you know he's no good, call your mom or your dad and say, come get me from school or pick me up, or my mom I gotta go in early. It's just little things that can change your life. Little things. You don't have to give into your environment. But just it's important to really listen to the positive influences in your environment. And if you don't have a positive influence, go to your counselor in the school, go to somebody that can help steer you in a direction where you can get that influence that helps steer your life off of a course of destruction if you're headed that way.
I can't remember the full poem, but in Coach Carter, it was one of the characters who was out there, and he used to always ask him, son, what is your biggest fear? He kept asking him. He kept asking him and kept asking him, and finally it clicked for the young man once his cousin got killed, and he was sitting there, and it was a lockout, and he finally stood up to say what his biggest fear is. And I believe that that takes place in our children as well. We were once in the dark until we came into the light. Whatever that moment in time it was that clicked for whatever reason, we've all faced those hurdles, valleys, mistakes, but they were teaching moments. And like Raymond said, you know, we can't despise the mistake as if it's a one and done and that your life is over, but that it's an opportunity to redirect. It's an opportunity to transform. But we also, like Raymond said, have to be willing to accept the mistake as just what it is, not in life altering where you have no other option, but the life altering to give you another route. And so this has been this concludes the session today for Children in Crisis segment. But this has been an eye-opening and necessary conversation that will continue to happen. Not a conversation that's just meant to be talked about, but a conversation that's meant to impact. We have to get to a place where our children remember that they're the light of the world and the salt of the earth.
Yes.
So thank you guys. I appreciate your honesty and your transparency in this conversation, and this will go a long way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
It was pretty good. That was
That was good.
that was good.
That was good.
You think that chair was killing me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, man.